Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Very glad to have this chance for sharing the China's experience and what we have already done on addressing the climate change. Especially, we do a lot of work and efforts on implementing our national determined contributions. So I just want to share a whole picture and the overarching background of the China policy regime. And also later, my colleague Ms. Wang Tian will share more on the transparency issue. And this is the climate regime in China that we could see that at the very top level that we have the national leading working group on addressing climate change, energy saving, and emission reduction. So the head of this group is our premier Li Keqiang of China. It's a very high level group, and under this, we have two bodies for implementing the climate change work. The first is the executive body. It is the Office of National Leading Working Group at NDRC. And then we do the reshuffle last year. So now the climate change department is all transferred into the Ministry of Environment and Ecology. So, and I'm working on another advisory body, so it's different part. And the advisory body is the National Climate Change Expert Committee. So my institution, the National Center for Climate Change Strategy, is one of the supporting institution on supporting the MEE for negotiation and also do some research analysis. So these two parts, executive body and the advisory body. And under this, we have some very substantive institution and the experts on working on climate change. It is the Department of Climate Change. And we have several work to do. Negotiation is one part. And also we have the National Domestic Strategy Making Department and also the International Cooperation Department in charging of the South-South Cooperation. And our institution is the middle one, is this one, NCIC. And also we also have other institutions from the technology and science and also from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And some experts all participate in the climate change work. And we have the China National Climate Change Planning from 2014 to 2020, and we also make the greenhouse gas emission control working program in the 12th and 13th 5-year plan. And now we are formulating the 14th 5-year plan. So the climate change issue is quite related to our domestic the economy and social development. And this is the roadmap and what we already go from on the way to on addressing climate change in 2005 to 2010, and we have the energy consumption per GDP unit reduced by about 20%. And then we make the 2020 target. It is mainly the 3 targets. One is about to reducing the CO2 emission per GDP unit by 40 to 45%. The second target is the non-fossil fuel. It's comparing with the 2005 year to increase the non-fossil fuel proportion to 15%. And the third target is to increase the forest area and volume by 40 million hectares. So this is our 2020 target. So what included in our 2030 target? So this is our NDC, the nationally determined contributions. So there are 2 main parts on the target. One is about mitigation. So we include 4 targets. One is the first one is the CO2 emission. So we promise to peak around in 2020, our CO2 peaking around 2030. And the second one is about the carbon intensity target. So it comparing with the level of the 2005, it will decrease by 60 to 65%. And the third one is the share of non-fossil fuel. It will raise to 20%. And the fourth one is the forest stock volume will reach 4.5 billion square meters. So this is our the four main targets in mitigation. And another very important component in our NDC is the adaptation. So we will strengthening the mechanism and the capacity to effectively addressing climate risks. And the second is stressing early warning and emergency response system and mechanism of disasters prevention and reduction. So these two parts are related to our target. And apart from this, we also provide 15 areas, the policy and measures that is very substantive items that we will do in the subnational level for the implementation for that. And we could see that China's climate policy framework is under a very high level, the instructions by our president. It is the construction of the ecology civilization. And we have the national plan on supporting this. And we could also see that several sectors are included in our framework on how to implement this. And we could see the biggest part is about the energy sector. So we have a very substantive planning on the very substantial actions related to the energy part. And so this is a pilot that, because China is a very huge area, and also the geography conditions is varies from the provinces to province. And we could see that in 2010, there are only 13 pilot provinces in China. And we try to engage with the different sectors and also the different stakeholders to engage in this process. I just come back from the Hangzhou province 3 days ago. That we know quite well that China has a lot of difficulties apart from this, because we have other problems apart from the climate change. And some provinces are also facing the difficulties of the poverty eradication. And we see a very great efforts from the subnational level on the civil, on addressing the public awareness of the climate change as a very beginning. And then more parties and more civil society know this issue and will be willing to engage in this process and will work together on addressing climate change. So this process is quite actually it's not an easy work that to make the pilot from 13 at the beginning, and after 6 years, it's increased to 100 right now. So China is trying to provide this more information in our the recommunication, the updating of the NDCs in 2020, because Paris Agreement has a requirement for those parties who already submitted 2030 target to update or communicate NDC in 2020. So more best practices from different provinces and more our experiences will be included and provide more information to show our efforts in the on how to participate, how to contribute more to addressing climate change in our updated NDC. So now our center is also participate this work on formulating the updated NDC right now. So more information will be provided then. So that's all about the whole picture and what China is implementing our NDC right now. So let's welcome Tian.
Yes, thank you, Ms. Xing, for the